My dear sisters and brothers in Christ, in today's Gospel we hear two teachings of Jesus that at first seem disconnected. The apostles says to the Lord, "Increase our faith." And Jesus replies, "If you had faith the size of a mustard seed, you could say to this mulberry tree, 'Be uprooted and planted in the sea,' and it would obey you." Then he continues with a parable about a servant who, after a long day of work, is expected to serve his master dinner before resting. Jesus ends by saying, "When you have done all you were commanded, say, 'We are unworthy servants. We have done only what we ought to have done.'" What is Jesus teaching us here? At the heart of both parts of this gospel is a single truth. Real faith is not about greatness or recognition. It is about trust in God and humble service. The apostles asked Jesus to increase their faith. It's a good request, one we often make ourselves. But Jesus doesn't give them a lesson on prayer or miracles. Instead, he says, "Even if your faith is as small as a mustard seed, the tiniest of seeds, it is powerful enough to move trees." That is surprising. It tells us something important. Faith is not measured by quantity, but by its authenticity. In other words, true faith is not about how impressive or strong it feels. It is not about being able to move mountains or perform wonders. It's about trusting God enough to act, even when we feel weak, uncertain, or small. Faith the size of a mustard seed is enough, because real faith is not about what we can do, but what God can do through us. Then Jesus gives a parable about a servant. In his time, this story would not have seemed strange. A servant worked all day and then served the master dinner. He didn't expect a reward. He was simply doing his job. Jesus applies this to our spiritual lives. Discipleship is not a performance to impress God or others. It is our joyful duty, our loving response to God's grace. In today's world, we are used to being recognized for our efforts. We value praise, gratitude, acknowledgement, and of course, giving thanks is good. But Jesus wants us, don't serve God with the expectation of applause. Don't do good in order to be praised. Instead, serve because it is right. Love because you're loved. Be faithful because God is faithful. This gospel challenges two tendencies in us. First, the desire for a big faith, visible, strong, impressive. And second, the desire for recognition, wanting others to see and admire our goodness. But Jesus teaches a different way, the way of small, trusting faith and humble, self-giving love. True faith doesn't always look impressive. It looks like a parent caring for a child without rest. It looks like someone forgiving again and again, even when it is hard. It looks like visiting the sick, helping the poor, staying faithful in prayer when nothing seems to change. These are the mustard seeds that move mountains in God's kingdom. And finally, remember this: even when our service seems small or hidden, God sees it. The world may not applaud, but heaven rejoices. Jesus himself lived this path. He washed feet, healed, quietly prayed alone. He became a servant, though he was Lord of all. So today, let us renew our commitment to this kind of faith. Not flashy, not loud, but steady, trusting, generous. Let us say with joy, we are unworthy servants, we have done our duty. And in this humble faith, we will find peace, purpose, and the quiet strength of God at work in us.